Hey team, Richard Tubb here with the final episode of Tubbtalk, the podcast for managed service providers. That's right, this is our last episode and this is goodbye. Now, it was in December 2006 I sat down at my computer in Birmingham and wrote the very first Tubbtalk post. At the time, I was the owner of a small IT managed service provider business, and I wanted to share my thoughts on running an MSP business as a record of my journey and to help my peers in the MSP community. Now, 2006 was the year that Twitter was launched. Google bought YouTube for $1.6 billion, and both the Nintendo Wii and Sony PlayStation 3 were launched. What I didn't know when I started writing was that over the next 20 years, Tubbtalk would grow into a global hub for MSPs. So now, after more than 2 decades in the managed service industry and almost 20 years running Tubbtalk, the time has come for this chapter to end. On Friday, September the 26th, 2025, one day after my 49th birthday, we'll be ending the production of new content for Tubbtalk, the hub for MSPs, and we'll be closing the Mesia business. This has been a journey measured in years and consistency. Since 2003, I've been immersed in the world of managed services. Along the way, Tubbtalk has become a place where I've shared over 2,500 blog posts, 200 plus long-form podcast episodes, 1,000 plus videos, and 4 published books for IT business owners. I'm proud of that consistency. It didn't come from motivation. It came from doing a little, often, for a very long time. And as the self-professed world's biggest procrastinator, consistently creating content is something that I can look back on with pride and gratitude. This podcast especially has become a great source of inspiration for me. When I started Tubbtalk, the podcast for MSPs, with its long-form interviews, some people said that with attention spans dropping, nobody would make time for hour-plus long conversation with MSP leaders. Yet the podcast has built an incredibly strong and loyal following, and it's even spawned its own spin-off show this year, 2025, as my dear friends Lenka Kapova and Vera Tucci launched Tubbtalk Wired for Connection, a podcast focused on sharing underrepresented human stories from the IT and MSP industry. None of these milestones would have been possible without the team who supported me. So a huge shout out to my Team Tubb colleagues in Lenka Kapova, Gudrun Leray, Mark Orr, James Eade, and former colleagues and friends such as Pascal Fintoni, Stephen McCormack, Karina Barrett, Holly Honeyford, Michelle Lucerini, Judith Burt, and so many other colleagues who allowed me to get out of my own way and focus on doing what I enjoy, connecting with people in the MSP community. And what started as a simple blog in my spare time quickly became something bigger. I began Tubbtalk, or Richard Tubb's blog as it was known way back then, as a way to journal my experiences running an MSP business. Then in 2010, when my father, George Tubb, passed away, I made the decision to sell my MSP business. But what I didn't realise was that Tubbtalk had turned into a trusted resource, a place where MSPs could learn, share, and know they weren't alone. So, encouraged by the feedback from the community, including the huge honour of my peers electing me as the first chairman of the new CompTIA UK channel community, now known as GTIA, I continued writing about managed services. And over time, Tubbtalk became part of the fabric of the managed service landscape. It became a community hub where ideas and friendships were sparked. I never imagined Tubbtalk would leave a legacy, but I hope it will be remembered as a place that helped MSPs build better businesses and better lives. And Tubbtalk didn't just help MSPs grow, it helped me to grow. Running Tubbtalk pushed me so far outside my comfort zone, speaking on stages around the world, writing and publishing books, hosting this podcast and video series that reached thousands, tens of thousands of people. Each step terrified me at first, but each became a milestone that I'll treasure. Tubbtalk has helped me discover not just who I am professionally, but who I am personally. One of the areas I'm most proud of is speaking openly about my struggles with my mental health. Now, I've struggled with depression since I was very young, and while this journey hasn't been easy, in the later stages of my career, thanks to the support of my wonderful wife Claire and amazing friends such as Gemma Telford, Polly Brennan and Dave Algio, I felt it was important to speak up. I'm especially grateful to CompTIA, or GTIA as they're now called, who gave me the opportunity to go on stage at ChannelCon in Las Vegas in 2023 and openly share about my mental health journey, including speaking honestly on some very tough topics such as suicide and burnout. And if by sharing my story I've helped even one MSP owner feel less alone or encouraged someone to seek support, then I think it's been worth it. I believe we've started moving the conversation forward in the IT industry around mental health, and that's something I'll continue to champion. Now, what really matters to me is the connections I've made along the way. I've had the privilege of serving an industry I absolutely love, and in return, I've gained lifelong friendships, countless stories, and the joy of being part of an amazing global community. So to every MSP, vendor, client, partner, podcast guest, event organizer, listener, viewer or reader who's been a part of this journey, thank you. You've given me more than I ever could have imagined. And of course, none of this would have been possible without mentors. I've been blessed to learn from the smartest and most generous people in the IT industry. They gave freely of their time, advice and experience, and I've always tried to pass that same generosity along. There are way too many people to mention, but I'd like to give a special thanks to Arlen Sorensen, Eric Simpson, Carl Palachuk, Nigel Moore, Pascal Fintoni, Philip Morgan, Raja Pagadala, Rob Hatch and Tiana Wilson-Bays, all of whom have been incredible friends and have helped me enormously, both personally and professionally. If Tubblog has helped you in any way, then the legacy belongs as much to those people, to those mentors I've mentioned, as much as it does to me. I may be stepping back, but the need for connection within the managed service industry doesn't go away. In fact, I believe it will only grow stronger. So this is simply the closing of one chapter, so another can begin. Tubblog will remain online as an archive, a resource for the managed service provider community, but we won't be publishing any new content beyond this point. As for me, I'm still going to be a part of the managed service industry, but in a new way. I'll be focused on working behind the scenes to provide mentorship and strategy for vendors with a very small number of non-executive director and advisory roles, the first of which I'm excited I'll be announcing shortly. I'll continue to share ideas, stories and conversations beyond the managed service provider industry over on my personal website, richardtubb.co.uk. And if you enjoy tech recommendations, leadership insights, personal development ideas, I'd encourage you to sign up for my email updates there. I'm also going to continue writing books on non-MSP topics, with my 5th book due to be published soon. So keep an eye on my Richard Tubb website or on my Goodreads author page for more details. Writing, podcasting and speaking are still very much in my blood, and I'm excited about what comes next. Inspired by my great friend Chris Brogan, each year I choose 3 words to guide me, and for 2025 those words were Pareto, lighten and broadcast. A Pareto means focusing on what truly matters, the 20% that brings 80% of the results. Lighten, it means for me removing burdens and creating more space for peace of mind. And broadcast, continuing to share ideas, insights and conversations in ways that reach and inspire others. These words remind me that this decision isn't about stopping. It's about creating space for the next evolution of my work and my life. Nearly 20 years ago, I set out with one goal: to help MSPs run better businesses and build better lives. And looking back now, I feel I've achieved what I set out to do, and so much more. If you have any memories on our journey together, please do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you for reading, listening, watching, and walking this journey with me. Here's to the next chapter. Cheers.